Malign Portents. Deluge of life. Roticus Rainfather waded through the lake of infected waters that, only 3 days ago, had been a bone-dry plain. Stretching to the horizon was a vast patchwork tapestry of pitched battles, brawls, skirmishes and last stands fought between his blessed minions and the skeletal creatures of the great necromancer. Roticus's plague-bearer attendants surrounded him, with tentacle beasts splashing in the waters alongside. The Rainfather glanced from under furrowed brows at the skies above. They were still grumbling like unquiet bowels. The dank green clouds of Nurgle's Deluge veiled an evil, skull-like moon that had glowered down upon the invading demons since the moment they had come through the Portal of Thorns. Those grim clouds were mustering yet another squall to soak this desiccated land in fecund filth. The innerlands of Shyish had not proved so barren that they were immune to Roticus's magic, as that old dotard Horticulus Slimux had claimed. As far as Roticus was concerned, his coming had heralded the salvation of this life-forsaken domain. So, why were its denizens resisting him so? Suddenly, a clutch of skeletons burst from the water, their little claws grabbing at his blubbery hide. He swept them away with his gnarl rod, sending bones popping and scattering everywhere.
"You breakers of the Great Circle," he rumbled, "followed wrong, but you will need a burial of sorts, till the worms may grow fat."
As if summoned by the words, a skeletal serpent burst from the water. It rose up high, giant skull dripping and bony jaws agape. An impressive specimen, thought Roticus, as he heaved up a river of bile from his guts. He vomited out a vast stream, the geyser of watery slurry hitting the bone serpent with unremitting force. The skeletal creature fought hard for a moment, then came apart altogether.
"You'll have to try harder than that,"
dribbled Roticus, swallowing a mouthful of clotted puke. Rainwater swilled around Roticus's immense thighs as he made for the hill in the middle distance. It was one of the many cairns that marked the borders of Nagashazar. Roticus could clearly see that vast black citadel protruded from the horizon like a blackened, jagged nail. There were people up there on the border cairn, and living ones to boot. He couldn't wait to hear their screams of joy, their little faces twisted in animalistic gratitude as he showed them who had brought them a chance to live again.
"Come on, you slobbergullions,"
called out Roticus to the army of plague-bearers, slouching through the waters behind him.
"To the hell!"
As Roticus grew close, the people on the crest of the rise lit torches with amethyst flame, transferred the fires to cloth-bound arrows and opened fire, the projectiles arcing through the air to plop and hiss around him. One struck him in the torso, eliciting a sizzle of burning fat and a flash of pain.
"Oh!"
he rumbled.
"Is that any way to treat your savior?"
Another 2 arrows shot in, slamming into his flabby gut. One landed right in his belly-maw, crackling on his nether tongue.
"Right,"
shouted Roticus, bristling with indignation as his gut spat out the streaming arrow.
"You're in for it now, my pretties."
High on the hill, Roticus could see a robed human, one of Nagash's cursed necromancers, by his ghastly aura and the wisps of amethyst light flying from his mouth as he cast his spells. A wedge of skeletal knights burst from the waters in response, their fleshless steeds screaming as they bore down upon Roticus. The greater demons swept aside their lances and barreled through them like a battering ram through a wicker gate. He had to save the people up on the hill before the necromancer got them, too. Already he could see armoured skeletons clambering out of the barrow holes that gaped around the hill.
"Not this day,"
shouted Roticus, yanking out a length of his lower intestine and hurling it like a giant wet bowler at the necromancer atop the hill. The tube-like length of putrid gut sailed through the air to slam into the gaunt human with a satisfying splat. It coiled around his stunned form, crushing the life out of him. Roticus was at the base of the hill now, a pack of lolloping beasts of Nurgle at his side. He stamped a wight into the dirt, the glowing balefires in its eyes snuffed out in an instant. Part of the hill fell away in a landslide, a usually pleasing sight for Roticus, but not this time. Instead of unearthing writhing worms or corpse-eater termites, the crumbling cairn was lousy with animated skeletons. Roticus felt more flaming arrows pierce his blubbery hide as the barrow skeletons clawed and stabbed at his legs, his gut, his backside and spine.
"What are you doing?"
he said.
"I have come to save you from dryness and sterility. Don't you realize what these things are?"
As if in answer, the rain of arrows intensified. He saw 2 of his beasts riddled with arrows, mewling pitifully as they discorporated into puffs of stinking green-brown mist. Roticus felt more blades and arrows dig into his hide, and a cold hollowing sensation as the ichor slop of his blood flowed away to join the floodwaters, lapping at the base of the hill.
"No!"
he roared, sweeping a dozen skeletal warriors away with one swing of his staff.
"You cannot stop the deluge!"
The Rainfather saw a clutch of human marksmen gain the crest of the hill, resting their crossbows on the shoulders of the skeleton swordsmen that protected them from the plague-bearers gaining the hill. The order to fire went up, and they levelled another volley, even as a rain of flaming arrows struck Roticus in the face and chest. The last thing the Rainfather saw before he lost cohesion altogether was a baleful skull leering down from the pallid, fat moon, with the spires of Nagash's ear reaching up to clutch at it like a skeletal hand.